amazing situation how much we have in common. My training is everything. My training resembles my life. People watch Hulk Smash, Hulk, the Hulk Unleashed, Hulk Smash 2 that just recently came out. And when you watch these videos, you guys understand that a lot of times we have taken a lot of the things we've experienced and we use it for positive. And we come from so much negative, My grandmother, and I was just sharing this with somebody today, I used to ask my grandmother all the time, I was like, why every time, something happens or you're in pain, you always call me? Of everybody in the family, she said, because you're the only person that can take it. She said, the strength that you have is not what you think you have. I thought my strength was in the gym. My strength is, when you see me go on the Maury show, and you guys have watched my episodes, and I deal with these men that abuse these women, and these people that abuse other people that are weaker, or they think that are weaker or smaller than them. It's the antagonist of me being able to use my ability to understand what that is. And a lot of times, people are misunderstood when they do that because they're weak. And I knew that because I grew up around a very, I didn't understand my pops until recently. My pops was a very, very weak man. And he used a lot of things that he was frustrated about. And he didn't have certainties about it. He took it out on us. And I grew up, we watched Hulk Smash 2. I grew up in a very abusive home, and not understanding what my purpose was going to be, having a child with disabilities and all the things that have gotten me to where I'm at right now. It was my dad, when I was accused of killing my dad when I was 15 years old, and I went to jail. She was the one that used to stand by the door when they opened it up and wave at me and write me letters and stuff and tell me that I was going to come home one day, and then all the things he did to me that I didn't deserve it. And that, I was going to have a good life. I was looking at myself in that little room like, what's good about this? I'm 15, I got a 10th grade education. I'm locked up for 2nd degree murder. And nobody, nothing, no visits, no nothing. Everybody on my dad's side of the family looks at me like, I'm the worst person in the world because they didn't even understand what happened, what was going on. Everybody on my mom's side of the family, they love me, but they're afraid of me. Everybody look at me as a murderer. Not realizing that all I did was stop him from doing what he had been doing to me and my sister for years, the abuse. But this woman right here, would call me in the middle of the night, and when she called me, she would always say, you're the only person that can take it. You're the only person that can actually endure that from us. And I didn't understand. I'm like, why me? And I swear she's been dead since 2015, June 30th. And I actually get it. And I try to help people understand when I train with you, this is not physical. I'm talking about this is mental, this is emotional, this is spiritual. Using the things that have affected you in your life and not using it to, give the devil what he wants. He wants you to go out there and do crazy stuff. He wants you to give up. He wants you to quit. I'm talking about using that same energy, that negative energy. When y'all see me go rup, and I'm sitting underneath that bench, I think about stuff just like this. They make fun of me when I listen to Disney music, Aladdin and Little Mermaid and stuff like that. I'm using that to calm me down because I'm so angry. And, I get confused with God. I don't get confused no more because C.T. Fletcher came in my life and he helped me understand who I was. And like I told him the other day, I said, man, he told me, he said, son, your greatest attribute is your worst weakness. My greatest attribute was the fact that when I look within myself, I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a bodybuilder, not a powerlifter. I'm a leader for God. Because in order to be a leader, you have to be able to be led. With that being said, right here, what y'all just heard, that is probably, I always go back if I want to hear her voice, and you can go on Google, my Facebook, you can listen to that. That is Beulah. In the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning, crying and telling me that I just need to talk to you, make me feel better. And really, when I was young, I didn't know no better. So people up in here, you might not understand your purpose, or how you're being used, but I promise you this, closed mouths don't get fed. There's so many people, if you just told them who you are and where you come from and what you've been through, there's so many people that can be changed by just opening your mouth and saying your piece. A lot of people, I thought, it's none of people's business what I went to jail for. None of people's business, what happened to me. You know how many people reached out to me after Hulk Smash 2? I got in front of the whole world and told the truth. I told the truth. that me and my sister were beaten up until the age of 15. She was 13. And that on that day, I shot my dad 7 times, and I stopped the pain. Only to start something even new in my life. God put me through that to understand. Now when I do these, and this is the biggest blessing in the world, when I do these shows, I get from a guy that was locked up for nothing, I get a chance to go on national TV in front of the whole world. I mean, people just reach out to me all the time, man. And first thing first, I want to tell you guys, I'm loving this. This is exactly what I come to this show for. I want you guys to look at this. You see this rock? Yeah. All right. I want the first person that is without sin to take this rock and hit him with it. But that's what it's all about. Nobody's perfect. We as a people can change. We as a people can motivate. We can help. And that's what the show is all about. And the crazy part about that is, if you'd have told me this back when I was a little boy that I was going to be doing stuff like this, you know, people ask me all the time, I mean, Patricia's be the main one. She's like, I was with him, like, oh, those shows fake? And she's like, no. I couldn't even meet these guys till we actually got on stage, but I had portfolios reading all the different things about them, different attributes. And this is the thing, the first thing I did when I went on the show, and this is something that CT taught me, the first thing I did when I went on every show, I walked up to every guy and I shook his hand. I spoke to him. Because at the end of the day, what people didn't realize, they were booing, boo, you're this, boo. But what they didn't understand was every last one of those guys came on that show for help. They know they had a problem. And a lot of them were, you know, missing fathers. They were all kind of, you know, trauma, anxieties, different things they had going on. But they didn't give them a reason to do what they were doing, but they didn't even understand what was going on. They needed help. There's 2 sides to every story. Every single story. Just like I wanted people to listen to me and give me a chance. I got a chance when I got in those cells. I didn't physically put my hands on those guys, but I helped them understand what I understood, which was you reap what you sow. And whatever you do to somebody, God will do it to you. And helping them understand those different purposes and seeing themselves and making them look in their mirror and seeing the real behind themselves. Every 6 months we go back on the Maury Show. We do a review from the guys that I helped. And it's a pleasure to go through that, beat it, survive it, and then be able to help other people go through it, beat it, and survive it, and keep passing it along because I didn't keep my mouth shut. I expressed myself. And the things that I went through, I was able to give that to the whole world, man. And I say that to him because when he speaks on his grandmother, and I talk about mine, you got to understand, it took somebody strong at some point to help me get to where I'm at. And believe it or not, before there was a C.T. Fletcher, before there was anybody, my grandmother was that person. Sometimes strength don't come by muscles and size. It comes by the will of God, and it comes by having a strong mind and a strong heart. And that's what Beulah was, man. She was the strongest person I knew. That poverty he's talking about, anybody go to Sam's? Anybody shop at Sam's? Costco?
Yeah.
All right. We had a card from the church that we were in. It was called the Women Rescue Center. My grandmother was a part of it, helping give out free food and canned goods and stuff like that to other women who were in abusive situations. And the best part about that was we got the card. We were so poor when I was young, I didn't even realize how poor. I thought it was just something fun to do. We would go to Sam's. We would get a basket. We act like we were shopping and putting stuff in it, just to walk around like 10 times to get free samples. That's how we would eat. That's how we would eat. And when I tell you right now, it's crazy because I wish I could have my grandmother to get those free samples. I've eaten some of the best food in the world. I mean, food that you just watch them make it right there. And for one day, for one time, I could just go get those free samples with mother one more time. And it's just the things like you guys, you know, even him, his mom called him to check up on him and the relationship they got. You have no idea how much I wish I could get that back. And I just sit back and try to help people look in the mirror. My hashtag is LITM, look in the mirror. When you look in the mirror, you shouldn't see a six-pack, you shouldn't see big muscles, you shouldn't see a nice body. What you should see is the same thing I see, the Lord Jesus Christ. And that's my gift to you guys, man. I was appreciate him opening up, so I thought I'd make it like Christmas time and join the party, man.
But what are the reasons why we're doing it? If you're chasing, I like to call it chasing a ghost. If you're chasing that physique or that power, it's just maybe just be not in the cards for you. I'm clearly aware that I would never have a washboard anything. Which is why I just take very confidence in eating these things. but what do you create for yourself? What's the best version of yourself that you create? Which is like the stuff that my grandmother used to always tell me. My grandmother told me when I was very young, and this is her exact words, your dumb ass ain't going to college. You smart as hell, but you ain't going to college. You're not going to do that. And I had a cousin that played D1 football. He was brilliant, still is, got a good career, and I used to watch how they would. We would go to all these football games. I used to watch that and like, man, you know, that's what I want to be like. My grandma like, no. And I used to think that she was dogging me, like, but no, she really like, nah, it's something for you. It ain't that though. 2 + 2 ain't your favorite thing to do, so it ain't gonna be that. And you know, I was a good athlete, but you know, when I started, as I got older, and realized that your parents aren't mean. Like in my situation, they weren't mean. They were honest. And the stuff that me and Sam have done out from our neighborhood, we don't know 5 people who's ever steps outside the box and do what we done. I come from struggling with reading to being a children's book author to getting paid to travel to read to kids. So this is what my grandma was saying. Your dumb ass ain't going to college. She just didn't know what it was going to be, but she knew it wasn't going to be that. And the day she died, like I said, she told me, no, you need to come home tomorrow. And I'm like, Grandma, don't say that. She said, listen, dude. I couldn't control when I came into this raggedy motherfucker, but I'm for damn sure leaving when I feel like it. And when I left on the 6 o'clock boat, I got to her house at about 8:15. She passed away at noon. And she knew it. And that was the best we seen her look in weeks. And she told me, I couldn't control when I came, but I for damn sure control. And she got to see my first book signing. She never was able to make it to the gym because that's kind of a, she wasn't digging the boat thing. She told me I'm 2 generations out of slavery. You think I'm gonna get on my damn boat? I'm like, Grandma, seriously? She said, no, I've never been on a boat in my life. So she always wanted pictures though, but she wasn't about to get on no boat. But yeah, just and then stuff like that. So then when I looked at all of that, and then you start seeing where your qualities come from. Those qualities come from. Even my dad. Me and my dad is, I do get on my damn nerves. But me and him is like this now. And you know, he grew up not in my life. I didn't have a relationship to him when I was 30. And he told Sam, pretty much told Sam before, like, hey, I appreciate you because I ain't dealing with it. I ain't gonna be around it. And that broke me. And then to hear him watch that Hawk Smash 2 and watch him admit that he, you know, the stuff about his father, I used to feel like I would actually kill him until I watched that. And until I got that relationship with my father, like, damn, because even though my father was never in my life, he put his hands on my mother, he never did it to me. He never truly taught me anything directly. But the traits and the things like that, the stuff that I do, like, comes from him too. Being around him, he's in a wheelchair, he's paralyzed because of the bad choices he made. And I remember we first connected and they signed all over his affairs to me. At first I'm like, dude, this shit's pull the plug or whatever happens, dude, he getting on my nerves. So I gotta take all this stuff, and it's cool, it's helped me grow as a person. And I remember sitting in the room with him, and he was just ranting about his shoes wasn't color coordinated. And I didn't understand why he was like that, because he's in a home now. He's in a rehabilitation center. So he has to have control of his life. That's the only thing he controls, how his room looks. And I'm sitting there looking at him, and he keep doing these things. I'm like, damn, that's where you get that shit from. And I'm just watching him, and I told my mother, and this is another thing, the testament to my mother, she never talked bad about him. She never talked bad about him. She never told me nothing negative. I just knew he did it because I can remember some of it. But he got into detail and told me stuff that she never spoke on. And I asked her, she said, yeah, that's true. I said, why would you never tell me? She said, because my relationship with your father shouldn't be yours. He made the choice not to be your life. I didn't tell you to do that. So that's another sign of her strength, but that's, you know, me having
I'm
that.
gonna say this, Cohen, I don't mean to cut you off, brother, but I think the main theory why we're here is saying that if I walked outside right now and I pick up one of those cars and moved it out to you, how many people come watch that? Everybody, right? But that's what I feel like my purpose is. God is using me to get that attention so I can get the message. So once you get the people's attention, now you can get the message. And the message that I give is appreciation. It's a message that I told you my two goals for this year was accountability and progression. I want to hold myself accountable for everything that happens in my life. I hold you accountable for everything you do moving forward. As long as we've been doing this mission, man, I've been trying to help him as a man, as a father, and like I said, as a brother.